afternoon friends, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about my 2023 kind of knitting hopes and plans. I hesitate to call them properly goals because I realize that in this specific time of life that I'm in at the moment, it's hard to make sort of exact set, particularly crafting goals for myself with a baby and whatnot. You kind of have to be very flexible. But anyway, in case you're new here, in case this is the first video that you've ever watched of mine, I'm Emily and I am a homemaker and stay-at-home mom. I am married to my wonderful and amazing husband Micah. I live in Tennessee in the United States and we have a 5.5, almost 6-month-old baby. A little baby boy, baby Tam. And today I already filmed this video once, but I realized that I kind of blathered on and rambled on and I didn't like it, so I decided let's just refilm it. And baby Tam this week has just slowly started being okay with napping by himself, and sometimes it's not for very long, maybe only like 30 minutes, so I'm taking advantage of that and I'm gonna refilm it. So all of that being said, let's just jump right into it. And I will say this is knitting and kind of general creative crafting plans for 2023. And I'm not going to be talking about any sort of a 2022 roundup because, in all honesty, I didn't really complete that much stuff in 2022. It was a lot of socks and then like 1 or 2 sweaters and garments and my cardigan. But I didn't really finish that much stuff in 2022 because I was pregnant and then had a baby, and you know how it is. So we're just going to talk about 2023. Number 1, I would like to knit myself at least 1 cardigan this year. I have talked about this before in my podcast episodes, but especially since finishing this cardigan, I love this cardigan so much. I wear cardigans all the time, not just in like spring and fall transition time. I will wear them year round. They're just amazing. I have a whole cabinet full of secondhand thrifted cardigans that I wear all the time. Have I knit myself very many cardigans? Absolutely not. I think I've only knit this one and then maybe 1 or 2 other ones that I don't even have anymore for myself, and those I made back when I first started knitting, like sort of properly knitting garments and things. So one of my things this year is I just want to make myself some more cardigans. I need to be better about actually making things that I will wear. So that's goal number 1. Number 2 also has to do with garment knitting. I would like to only knit myself either textured or colorwork fingering weight sweaters, or knit sweaters that are DK weight and above. And the reason for this, I kind of went into it a little bit on my most recent podcast episode. I am finding that I don't love the fabric that I'm getting with the fingering weight sweaters. I think that because I'm a continental knitter, that I just knit a bit looser, and so the fabric that I get from just purely stockinette purely stockinette fingering weight sweaters, I just don't like it that much because, especially with my bust size and everything, they kind of stretch and you can kind of see through them. So I realized, like, I have a DK weight sweater that's completely stockinette and I absolutely love that thing. I wear it so much. Well, as much as I can wear sweaters. Because again, cardigans are much more practical for me with breastfeeding and all of that. But I love that DK weight sweater. It's super nice, and even though it's completely stockinette, it's perfect. But the fingering weight sweaters that I have made that are completely stockinette, I don't like them. So I've come to the realization that I'm determined this year to again pay attention to the things that I actually really like to wear. And I have a few fingering weight, or probably a couple fingering weight sweaters that have some texture to them. Like one's the Wool and Honey sweater by Andrea Mowry, and it's all garter stitch, and I love that thing. I would wear it so much more, but unfortunately I have realized I've worn it once since I had a baby, and his fingers will, he's really grabby because he's a baby, and his fingers catch onto the long stitches, and so I can't really wear that sweater. But I have that one, and then I have the Flow sweater by Emily of the Blue Mouse Knits, and both of those are in garter stitch, and I love them. And it was kind of the same thing with the Flow sweaters. I realized that his little hands catch on the drop stitches in that sweater. So I kind of want to just knit myself a garter stitch fingering weight sweater this year, but I just want to be really intentional about it and just know that if it's a fingering weight sweater that is pretty much entirely stockinette, I'm probably not going to like it. That being said, I've also realized that I need to be a little bit more mindful of the sizes. So these two kind of combine together. I need to be more mindful of the sizes and be okay with picking sizes that have a little bit more positive ease, because I think that's part of my issue as well. I tend to really like the more vintage style, close-fitting, 0 inches or negative positive ease. Negative ease. Not negative, positive ease. Negative ease. Which is just the much more vintage style of clothes. And so I tend to pick sizes that are a bit smaller. They're like right at my measurements or just a little bit smaller. And I think that I just need to be more mindful with a lot of the more modern day knitting patterns that they're designed to have more positive ease in them. So that's the other thing that I want to try and keep in mind when I'm making sweaters. But I would really, really like to make more garments this year, and I would just like to make DK weight. I really want to make the Owl sweater by Kate Davies. That's the pattern that made me really, really want to get back into knitting, or get into learning how to knitting. Oh my goodness, my words. To learning how to knit. I have had that pattern for absolutely years, for so long, and I think I'm going to try and make this the year that I knit that sweater, but we'll see. So number 3 is I would like to knit Micah, my husband, at least 6 pairs of socks this year. I am so happy that he loves wearing the hand knit socks that I have made for him, and I've made him probably about 6 pairs at this point. I would love to get to the point where if all of his socks are hand knit socks by me, that would just be so magical and amazing, and I would love it so much. But I don't want to just take all of my knitting time and only knit socks for Micah. I want to, knit stuff for myself because I like things. I like making myself things. So my goal is to knit around 6 pairs of socks for Micah. I would love it if I ended up at the end of 2023 with like 15 pairs of socks that I've made for him, but I'm trying to be very realistic and choose smaller goals as much as I can, just to not put too much pressure on myself. Enough to try and stretch myself, but not so much that it's kind of, hopeless and I lose heart and don't want to do it. So I'm aiming for 6 pairs of socks this year. I would like to knit or crochet at least 2 toys for baby Tam this year. Another one of my goals is I want any and all toys that I have for our children, or I guess the vast majority of the toys, probably 90% of the toys that we have for our children, to be handmade either by myself or by other members of my family. I just would love that. I love old-fashioned toys that are all handmade. They're made with love, and they're just, I don't know, so much more special. I don't know if it would be that or so much specialer. English. It's odd. They're so special and I think superior in every way to toys that you can just walk to the store and buy. And I don't want a bunch of like garish, loud plastic toys. And I also don't want all of like the super aesthetic, like whatever toys. I want toys that are handmade and that are just, I don't know, beautiful. I love the idea of doing that, and I love the idea of, as my children get older, for Christmas presents, to have them help me make toys and things for their siblings. I think that would be so lovely. So this year I would like to knit or crochet at least 2 toys for baby Tam, because right now he's still a baby, so he's not super he doesn't need a ton of toys. I think he has like 3 or 4 different toys, and he really doesn't need any more than that. But as he gets older and more into the toddler stage and whatnot, he's going to want like other toys to play with. And I love the idea of making him a bunch of like handmade little like animals that have like different little clothes that you can put on them. There's a few different patterns that I absolutely love and want to make so badly. I'm thinking about making another video talking about all of the kind of handmade toys, both sewn and like yarn related knitting crochet toys that I would like to make over the next many years of my motherhood journey, if you will. But for this year, again, tiny goal. I'm really hoping to make more toys than that, but starting with 2. And then the next couple are, well, I guess the rest of them are just kind of more general crafting. I would like to this year be very intentional about any and all of my yarn or like fabric craft supplies purchasing. Yes, that works. Any purchases that I make that are craft related, I want to be very intentional about them, and either only purchase stuff if it's for a specific project that I cannot make this project unless I have this supply, or I would like to in support of a small business. So there's a few different yarn companies. Holly of the Mystery Mouse Knitting Podcast, she has her hand-dyed yarn company, the Mystery Mouse Yarn Co. Anna of Anna Knitter, she has a Etsy shop where she sells both some hand-dyed yarn and opal yarn, and then also kind of a newer one to me, Devin of the Knitty McPurly Podcast has a hand-dyed yarn company, and I would really love to purchase some yarn from her. So like these people, they're smaller business, they're conservative Christian faith-based businesses, if you will. The women behind them are women of faith. And that's something that I just want to be more mindful about this year. I want to be more intentional to support these small businesses of conservative Christian Catholic mums, housewives, homemakers, traditional women. I really want to try and support those businesses, and I also just don't want to just buy a bunch of stuff for the sake of buying it. So that's why I kind of made the 2 criteria. If it's something where I don't have a specific project in mind, but it's to support a specific small business, that's okay. But if it's something where it's like Joanne or Hobby Lobby or whatever, I want to only purchase things for specific projects, not just buy it because it's on sale. So, and the next one kind of fits into this one a little bit. I want to really strive to just buy less in general and embrace the creativity that I would need to have to kind of swap out supplies. So if I don't have something, to not automatically just go, oh, I need to go and buy it from the store, but stop and think about, what do I already have that could work in place of this thing that I need? So if that means just combining different weights of yarn instead of just going out and buying more yarn. Yeah, I want to really try to overall just buy less craft supplies. In specific, but also kind of in my life in general, whether that's food or whatever, just overall purchases. I want to try and be mindful and purchase less this year, and just really hone in on being content with what I have and embracing, like I said, embracing the creativity that I will have to come up with something to replace something that I might need. And then, next to last one, I was looking at one of my, some of my old blog posts that I had written. I hardly did anything with my blog last year, but I was looking at some of my old blog posts from a previous blog from years ago, and it just made me, I don't know if nostalgic is quite the right word, but I really enjoyed going back and looking at some of my old projects and kind of seeing what I'd written about them and the pictures that I'd taken. Like, just looking at the log of the things that I had made was just so satisfying, and it reminded me that that's one of the reasons why I like keeping a blog so much. And I tend to get kind of discouraged or disheartened because it just, I don't know, writing is not necessarily something that comes super easily to me, but when I was going back and reading those blog posts, I was actually quite pleased with what I had written. I was thinking about it and I realized, yeah, you're pretty good at writing these blog posts. It might not be easy for you, but you're good at it. And yes, it's kind of a challenge, but we all kind of need challenges in life. So this year I want to try and write at least one blog post per month. So 12 posts in 2023, at least do that. And again, like with the other ones, I would like to do more than that, but that's my goal. At least 12 blog posts throughout the year. And part of it is I keep kind of going back and forth about which website service I want to use and blah, 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 blah. But I think I've gotten things sorted out, and I was at WordPress and I switched to Blogger, and now I'm switching back to WordPress. I'm just a little bit too much of a perfectionist, and I want it to look a certain way, and I want things to do certain things, and it's just hard to find one platform that will do all of the things without spending tons of money, because that's really important to me, because I don't see blogging as any sort of a business. It's very much just a creative aspect. Oh, that's just the battery running low on my video monitor, so I'm just going to turn it off so it just doesn't sit here and beep at you. So I don't want to spend a ton of money on like getting a custom website or anything like that. Yeah. So I think I'm going to just stick with WordPress, and that means that for the next bit I may have to have woldenburn.wordpress.com, because that was one of the things that frustrated me about WordPress, is that it won't allow you to have a custom domain name without paying, which I think is just ridiculous. But anyway, so before I pay for it, I want to, because previously I had paid for it. I paid for like a 2-year plan or whatever. So before I invest any money into it, I want to try and see if maybe for the next 6 months, if I do a post every month, then I'll think about actually updating it and making it fancier and paying for it so it can just be woldenburn.com. But for now, I don't want to, again, being mindful of my purchases, I don't want to just buy something that I'm not really going to use. So, that. And then the last one of all, which is probably one of the most important, is I want to really lean into and embrace the fact that right now, in this season of my life as a young mother, and again, I've mentioned this before, I'm hoping to have many more children. I'm hoping to potentially be pregnant again at the end of this year. Again, these are all things that, these are my, oh, there's the baby. Hold that thought. Poor little fellow. But anyway, as I was saying, that I want to try and be really, I keep saying intentional, but I want to be as mindful as I can about really embracing the fact that this season of my life, I'm not going to be able to get as much done when it comes to crafting, and that's okay. And that's, like I said, why I'm trying to be very conservative about how much I'm trying to get done. I want to set myself goals and things that I'm hoping to get done for the year, because I think that's good. It's good to have something to work towards. But I also just want to really embrace the fact that I might not get that much done this year. And that's okay, because I'm a mother and a wife, and I'm raising babies and taking care of a house and taking care of my husband, and those are all really, really important things. And it's just such a sweet, short season of life, and I might not get as much knitting or sewing or creative stuff done, and that's okay. And I want to try. That's one of those things this year. I want to make sure that I am being mindful of that, intentional of that, and embracing the slowness of this season when it comes to, and well, I guess, and be intentional about being slow, like slowing down my expectation and drive and everything, and just, yeah, take each day as it comes. And some days I'm not going to be able to do crafting at all. And there have been a lot of those since the baby has been born. And that's okay. And that's what I want to really try and be kind of mindful of this year, is that there's no race. There's no rush. I don't have to rush from project to project to project and get something done so I can start the next one. And that's again one of the reasons why I'm reducing the amount of podcast episodes that I'm making down to just once a month. And I want to do more just kind of lifestyle living vlogs, because I often find myself wondering how other mothers, especially in like ye olden times, back in like the American Western days and in like the 1950s and stuff, how did those mothers just live their lives? What did they do? And yeah, I want to make more of those just kind of like general with a creative spin, because I think I've mentioned this before, I don't think I could live and breathe without doing something creative. But to do more just kind of lifestyle videos and vlogs and topic vlogs like this one or like the knitted toys one, but ones that don't require that I have made something or made a bunch of different things. So that's kind of what I want for my channel and what I just want for my life in general, is to really try and slow down and not wish this season of life away just because I can't get as much knitting done as I want to. But yeah, so that is all that I have. Those are all my knitting, creative, crafty goals. I'm not doing any sort of like a make 9 type of board. I love the idea of it, but the way that my brain works is that I'm just very much a mood person, whether it's reading or whatever. Typically, if I try and make a strict list of I'm going to make these 6 patterns or I'm going to read these 15 books, the minute I do that, my brain just goes, those are the worst things ever. I don't want to read those. I don't want to make those. Ew. And I don't want to do that. So that's why I'm not picking like specific, I will make this cardigan pattern or I will make this toy pattern. It's just kind of more generalized things. But yeah, I'd love to know if you have any sort of knitting, creative, crafting goals, hopes, plans for 2023. I'm looking forward to this year. I have a feeling it's going to be a good one, and by good I don't necessarily mean 100% easy. I don't think life is meant to be easy, and that honestly, it's the easy and the hard times that combine together to make things good, and I think that's going to be this year. But yeah, I hope that you are all doing well, that 2023 has gotten off to a fabulous start for you, and I'm still looking forward to all the different things that we're going to be getting up to this year. So have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will see you very soon on the next one. Bye!